We now come to our first prepared speech, and our first speaker tonight is going to be doing his icebreaker after finally grasping the Pathways nettle and deciding to go for it. He actually did his first icebreaker over 8 years ago, shortly after joining Bromley Speakers, but tonight he is delivering a brand new talk, specially tailored to the new normal of an online environment. With a speech entitled, "We're All Immigrants," please welcome Dave Henson.
Bloody foreigners coming over here, stealing our jobs. Flaming Filipino nurses coming over here, saving our lives. Poxy Polish plumbers coming over here, fixing our leaks. And those irritating Irish navvies who came over here, constructing our canals and our railways. I'm of pure, unadulterated English stock. My parents were English, my grandparents were English, and I'm pure English too. Or am I? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. About 20 years ago, I started researching my family history. I was inspired by my mum and dad, who both wanted to know more about their ancestors. I have to admit that my dad's side has so far proved stubbornly English, having only migrated from as far away as Essex and Sussex. However, my mum's side of the family has proved more interesting. This is largely because my mum's family were mixed in the melting pot that was East London in the 1800s. People came from far and wide to get work in the fast-growing metropolis. Its population grew massively, expanding from 1 million people in 1800 to 6.7 million a century later. And amongst that population were my ancestors. When I was young, my mum always spoke of a German connection in the family, a Mrs. Kickernap. It wasn't until I started researching that it came to light that Maria Kickernap was her grandmother. My mum was the youngest of 6 children and grew up in an age where kids were seen and not heard. She clearly knew very little about her family. Maria Kickernap was the daughter of Frederick Kickernap, who emigrated to London from Hanover in Germany in 1839. Then just one generation further back, I discovered an Irish connection, a man named Patrick Duane, who hailed from Doneraile in County Cork. He was one of the Irish navvies who helped build the railways, and at one point worked on the construction of the railway on Alderney in the Channel Islands before moving to the East End of London. So I have a great-grandmother who is German and a great-great-grandfather who is Irish. This makes me 1/8 German and 1/16 Irish. So when I add 1/8 of a dose of German and 1/16 of a dose of Irish, this pure, unadulterated Englishman takes on a very different hue. And the same thing applies to us all. If you go back, you will find somewhere along the line, your ancestors will have migrated, maybe due to oppression, maybe for economic reasons, maybe because of natural disasters. In fact, the paleoanthropological African origin theory suggests that modern humans originated in the Horn of Africa some 200 to 300,000 years ago. Over a long period of time, they gradually migrated across Asia, Europe, and the Americas. So we're all out of Africa. We're all immigrants. Let's be honest, if we go back even further, we've actually evolved spectacularly from primordial unicellular organisms, which are the progenitors of all living beings on Earth today. It might be argued that there are some leaders of the free world who haven't exactly evolved much beyond this primordial state. So who am I now? Well, a lot of you know me quite well, and some less so. I've been a member of Bromley Speakers for 8.5 years, and that has certainly enriched my life with what it has given me in terms of confidence and especially the great friendships I've made. When I started writing this conclusion, I thought of many words to describe myself, but I'm only going to use a few. I'm friendly. I'm receptive, curious, creative, darkly humorous, and broad-minded. Of course, there's much more to me and all of us than can be said in just a few words. If you want to find out more about me and allow me to find out more about you, then I'm also a good listener and conversationalist and always ready for a chat. But the 1/16th Irish in me always prefers to do this over a pint. So let's work a little bit of leprechaun magic. Cheers.
Thank you, Dave, for that excellent icebreaker. And what an interesting background. It does make you want to do all your research on your family tree, and especially doing it over a pint. I think that's a good idea.
Definitely.
Now,